So I'm recording this meeting so that we have a copy of it in YouTube, so that guys that were unable to attend. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the date issue we had. We actually intended to not meet it, so a lot of people couldn't make it because of the date issue. I believe subsequent one will take note of such discrepancy. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Dr. Akinyele to us. Dr. Akinyele attended the University of Ibadan. He studied electrical and electronic engineering. He graduated with a first class in 2008. From there, that proceeded to the UK to do my master degree. From that master degree program, he now went to the New Zealand University of Wellington to do his PhD program. And during his PhD program, he was able to publish high-rated journal in Scopus. Some of the media houses, they were actually looking for him to share some of his experience with some of the guys in New Zealand. So Dr. Akinyele is a well-established scholar, and he has over 30 publications, and this is why we are building him on board to share some of his experiences with us in academics. So we just start now, then while we make a provision for other guys to come on board. If they come on board, I will invite them, also accept them in. So Dr. Akinyele, we would like you to just give us a brief introduction about research in academics.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity given to me to share my little experience on academic research. I think to start with, first of all, I will want to lay that background by starting with a definition for research. So in natural science and engineering research parlance, for instance, the word research may be loosely defined as making novel and significant contributions to our understanding of the world. So, and this is usually based on reproducible observations and verifiable results. And so that keyword novelty and the significance happen to be the key ingredient of research in both science and engineering practice. So something must prompt research. Something must be the driver. Something must propel it. Something must motivate it. And for some of us that are from the engineering and the technology and the applied sciences, the pressing issues in the society, and some of the societal problems stand to be the drivers for, conducting research, because we want to solve problems, we want to have a proper understanding of what is affecting the society. So it is on this basis that some of the research questions are being asked, and we try to fashion out modalities of how to go about the research that we want to conduct. So I would like us to stand on this platform and then see the current challenges around the world, and even the ones within our society as motivators. Those are things that motivate us to conduct research.
Thank you very much
So
for
thank
that
you.
brief and compelling knowledge that you just shared with us. So we would also like to ask you a few questions. I will now start. Now, for those of us that we are trying to come up in academics, can you just in 2 or 3 sentences tell us how you can identify a researchable topic? A researchable topic.
Okay.
Just in 2 or 3
Okay.
sentences.
Thank you very much. As I've said earlier, that problems, before trying to identify or try to coin research topic, you must have interest in a particular aspect of the research that you want to focus on. Maybe you want to solve a particular problem in the society. For instance, the issue of energy poverty. Let me just use that as an example. Energy poverty. You have identified energy poverty in the society, and you have seen it that it is one of the problems facing the society that is really incapacitating the social and economic development of that society. So you out of all other topics, out of all other areas, you want to focus your own interest in that particular area. You want to channel it to that particular area. And so when you want to do that, you will have to carefully choose your words and a kind of working title that captures what you want to consider in your research. So identifying or trying to coin research topic is an important aspect, and is one of the basic steps that one is trying to take when trying to go into one aspect of research.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Akinyele. My second question is, if after identifying a researchable topic, now, can you just, in few words, explain to us how we can have the aim of that topic, of that research, as well as the objective? Because we've observed over the years that students normally have issues with writing aim and objective for research, especially in academic environment. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. So concerning the aim of the research, one must be understood, and from our little experience, for some of us that are within the academics, from my little experience, I've discovered that in so many theses or in so many reports, in so many project reports, you find that the aim of that thesis does not coincide, is not in alignment with the title of the research. I've seen some people coining their research topic to be optimization of let me just say optimization of energy system for so location. And then when it comes to the aim of that particular study, the candidate goes ahead to write, no, that shouldn't be the case. So for some of us that are present here today, I want to make it bold to us that when trying to write the aim of the research, the aim of the research or the aim of the thesis, then you should try as much as you can to align that aim with the working title, because there is what is called consistency in academic write-up, in academic thesis. The title of the thesis must be consistent with the aim of the thesis. So if there is there may, it depends on the choice of words, but once the reader has gone through your work, is able to identify that is the aim, then you understand that, okay, you have been able to pen down the aim of your research, of your study. Then you want to find ways through which you can achieve through which you can achieve that overall goal, which is the aim of the research. So it is in the process of trying to, find a way to achieve that goal, that of the thesis, that you now sit back and say that, okay, if, take for instance, if the aim of the thesis is to develop a renewable energy system for a local community, that is the aim. Then the question now goes thus: how do you develop that renewable energy system for the local community? So so when you now sit down to answer the question, then you try to pen down the specific objectives that you want to achieve in order to achieve the overall goal of the research. So it may be 2, it may be 3. For some people, it may not be more than 2. And by the time you check what they have done, you see that there is depth in what they have done. For some people, it may be 3. For some people, it may be 4. For some people, it may be 5. Then from experience, you discover that even there are some people that their objectives are up to 5. And the depth of what they have done is not even up to some people that have coined only 2 or 3 objectives. So there are levels in considerations in research. So that's what I can say.
Thank you, Doc, for that insightful comment that you've actually shared with us on the experience. My next question is now, after the objective have been drafted, the candidate must complete the objective of that work. So this would now lead to my next question now. How can we manage the completion time of an academic project? Because the project have a lifespan, and based on our knowledge from project management, we normally find a project entity that has a lifespan and consume resources now. And one of the resources is time. In just 2 or 3 sentences, can you tell us how a candidate or a student can complete this project within the record time, especially for undergraduate projects and master's or PGD? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, I would, on that note, I would advise that the students should try to draft a kind of task. You look at the problem you want to solve and you look at time, because all the things we do in research is time bound, like every other project. Even in project management, there is a start date and there is a completion date. So what goes on between the start date and the completion date describes, the task, the specific task that must be achieved. Maybe you set a task that between this next coming Monday and the end of the month, you want to quickly do a kind of a background survey of that particular problem. Then after that time, you consider another task. Maybe you want to do an extensive literature review of the aspect you are considering. Then maybe you set 3 weeks, 4 weeks for yourself. So that is, if you do it that way, if you do it that way, and then you discipline yourself to do it. One thing is to have interest to go into research. Another thing is to be able to sit down and then coin out task, achievable task. Then another thing is your consistency. You are being consistent that, yes, I've done this. You continue from there without allowing a break. It's not something that the task that you set up now and then you go for, from research, you just go for break for 3 months, 4 months without touching your work. By the time you come back again, you have to start from afresh. So it is a continuous process, and you have to, divide all the things you want to achieve in that study or particular research into tasks. So from experience, Gantt chart has helped so many people. You put things down in Gantt chart, Gantt will reflect the timeline, and fast up the task they achieve over time during the project. Thank
Thank
you.
yeah, thank you, sir, for the answers that you've actually provided to those questions. Now, one of the issues students normally complain about, they always complain about their supervisor. So we normally have the issue, especially in academic environment and in our settings here, the issue of a supervisor and students. In just few sentences, can you just tell us how to manage our supervisor to have so we have a good student and supervisor relationship?
Okay. On the issue of supervisor, I think there is a kind of a maybe distinction from what happens outside the country and what happens in Nigeria. For instance, outside the country, if you apply to, from experience, if you apply to some school, you will be the one to contact the supervisor and then tell him that, oh, you are interested in working with him, you want him to supervise. And once he finds that your area aligns with him, then he may have the opportunity to supervise you. But in Nigeria, and in some universities in Nigeria, you may not have that power to choose or to decide who you want your supervisor to be. It may not happen in some universities. In some universities, it may be the PG coordinator of the department that is going to divide those students according to their specialization and find somebody who is in that specialization and then give the student to that person. But in any case, there are things that are important. First of all, you want to be sure that your area, your research areas and interests are in alignment with the interest of that supervisor. Because from experience, if you are being supervised by somebody who doesn't understand what you are doing, there may be problem, in fact, series of problems along the line, because you may get to a particular point that you are trying to prove a point in an aspect, and then who you are explaining your findings to doesn't even understand the underlying principles guiding what you are trying to explain. So it has affected so many students. So you must be able to ensure that your research areas and interests align with that of your supervisor. Then another thing that is important is the supervisor's philosophy and style. There are some supervisors that are tasking. Naturally, they are tasking. And to students, you see, when somebody is tasking, to some students, they feel that that supervisor is wicked or too harsh. And that supervisor that is tasking, it might just be that his own style is to push you to work so that you will learn so many things. Especially when you have to come and present in a weekly research group meeting, like we experience in our own every week. I think we used to have it every Tuesday. And when you are presenting, if you cannot find something that is convincing, it's going to give you a blow, and then it will prepare you to go and work. And there's so many things in the process of doing that. You'll be able to learn. You'll be able to learn a lot of things by propelling you. That is one line of supervisor. Then there are some supervisors that they will just be cold. They won't stress you. They will just be cold, and they may not even want to stress you. And then you see, there is nothing that has advantage that does not have its own disadvantage. At the end of the day, because of that coldness, and you are not being prepared to do things, and you don't have anything that is charging you, that is challenging you, that is challenging your work. So at the end of the day, you may not be able to cross some boundaries that you are supposed to cross. So that is what you should understand before being a student to somebody. If you know that your own philosophy and your own strength cannot align with the demand of that particular supervisor, it is better to iron that at the beginning before you start into that, because this thing that I'm telling you, it has affected some people that they just did their research halfway and they ran away. because they cannot continue.
Thank
So,
you, sir.
so the track record of the supervisor, and on the whole, let me just conclude now. Between supervisor and student, I think there should be a kind of healthy relationship. So if there is no healthy relationship, I doubt if the student can go far with the supervisor.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for that.
Thank
For that
Yes.
knowledge that you have actually shared with us today. So I would
Yes,
like
sir.
to ask you another question, but it will be in two in one. In academics,
Okay,
what we
sir.
normally make a demand on is a contribution, but it's very difficult for us to separate contribution and plagiarism. So can you tell us
Mm.
how we can draft the contribution or the output of our work, while you also stress the importance of plagiarism, especially when we are trying to compile our reports for final submission? Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. You have asked two questions really, because plagiarism is one thing, then academic contributions is another aspect, another important aspect. I was in one presentation recently where the one of the very senior academic there was asking a PhD student that was presenting that, what is your product? He was asking him that, your product, I can't understand your product, or I can't see your product. So what he was actually referring to is the contributions of the thesis, is the contributions of the research. Now, by the time you set objectives in science and engineering or applied studies, when you set objectives, you want to make sure.
Generator.
Hello?
So you can
Hello?
continue. You can continue. You can continue.
Okay. So when you set objectives, you have something in focus. You are going somewhere. Now, setting the objectives, you want to make sure that your objectives are measurable. Measurable in the sense that when you say you want to model a power generating station, so how would you be able to measure that, and how will you be able to achieve that? So it's a process. You set an objective, then you have to do something to achieve that objectives, and that goes to methodology. So the methodology is the unique way in which you have tried to achieve that objective. And when you achieve an objective, it means that you have an output from the research. So that output that you have obtained forms part of the contributions. And that is why in academic research, to so many of us that are involved there is a kind of alignment between the objective you set, the methodology you introduce, and the contributions of our work, the contributions, the research results, and the output. And then when you are reporting it in contribution, you want to make it clear, you want to make it bold that in this study, I've been able to, to put forward this knowledge, as part of the knowledge that will be added to the body of knowledge. So that forms the contributions of the thesis. You see, contribution is very important in so many ways. There are some students that will still come in 10 years time, that will still come in 20 years time. By the time they pick up your thesis, some of them will want to see 1 or 2 lines or 3 lines in that contribution. They want to see what you achieved there. And then once they are able to see that, oh, this person was able to report this, that can be a basis, it can be a platform for them to advance their own research. So contributions of the research or the thesis is as good as the thesis itself, the methodology, and the objectives. So that is very, very important. You should put that at the back of your mind when trying to go into a particular study. Because if you go into a study, you want to make sure that you have an output. And engineering, we usually go into rigorous analysis. And so when you go into rigorous analysis, something must be reported at your output, and that forms contribution. So that is that on contribution. But talking about plagiarism, the issue of plagiarism is a serious issue in academic research around the world. So it's just plagiarism in a simple term. It's just, you know, claiming what does not belong to you. You know that this person was the one who coined this paragraph. And so when you copy that paragraph, you did not rewrite it, and you either, maybe you did not even reference the person, you copy it into your own work, maybe knowingly or unknowingly, because there are so many people in the past that by the time they pick them up on that plagiarism, they could not even explain how it happened, knowingly or unknowingly. But you know, when the issue is being reported, nobody will go on to say that it is unknowingly, that you don't know. They will just pick you up and say that you did it deliberately. There are some mistakes that are called honest mistake, yes, but you know, the significance and the severity of those, the consequence of that mistake is usually grievous. So that is why in academics we advise people, and we talk to people that are, you know, coming into academic research, to be very careful. When you are using other people's work, you should reference them properly. One way of referencing people properly, there is no crime in using other people's work, but there is crime when you use their work, you did not reference them, or you did not give credit to them, or you make use of somebody's idea and you did not give him credit in your work, that this idea was originally developed by so and so. And so you are trying to latch on that idea. You want to stand on that idea to analyze, you know, the problem in your own work. There's no problem with that. There's no crime in that. Even if you are trying to coin 20 pages review paper, you have to stand on the foundation of the literature. And then what people have done, you have to report, and then write in your own words as much as possible. So by the time you do that, then you learn it as a culture from the start. You learn it as a culture from the start, and then it will go. And then there's a software now that is available, Turnitin software. I know some of us know it. So it's better for us to start use to verify this stuff before our work goes out. So there's a level of percentage of similarity index that you must not go beyond before your work can be put forward. Maybe in thesis, maybe in conference paper and journals.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
you, sir, for that.
Yes,
for that comment. I will take other people comment. They have questions for you, but I would like to ask you my last question for the day, and I would like you to be a little bit brief about the answer, that the reply that you discussed on. Can you just tell us how to identify, how to draft a method for a study? Because it is a method that you use to achieve your objective, and it's a method that will show your contribution. Just in one sentence or two sentences, how to get a good method, where you can find a method.
Okay. Like I said the other time, that this thing is a process that you must follow. Number one, you have to stand on the platform of the literature review before you can, you know, come to terms that, yes, this is the way I want to go. This is the approach I want to introduce. Or there is a particular approach in the literature that you want to make modifications to. So it's not far-fetched. It is standing on the platform of the literature review that you can actually come up to say that, yes, this has been done. I want to work in this line. I want to work in this direction.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
thank you.
One of our audience said, is contribution needed for a master research? Do you need a contribution for a master research? Yes or no?
You said? Can you come
Need a,
again?
do we need contribution for a master research? That is for MNG or MSc. Do you need contribution in your research? Is it compulsory to contribute to knowledge?
Yes, anything called research must definitely contribute to knowledge,
Thank you.
whether it's a short
Uh,
study or a long study or a paper or
yes.
MSc thesis and PhD thesis.
Okay.
Anything called research must contribute to knowledge one way or the other.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have another question, sir. Sir, is it possible for us to use somebody's project for our own work, and to what extent can we copy from such works?
Huh? I can't hear you.
Is
The
it
voice
possible
is
for
cracking,
us to
sir.
use existing projects for our work without extend the work that we have on ground?
Now, okay, using the existing project,
On ground.
in what or in what ways?
For,
Because you,
no,
I need
for
to
our
get
work,
that
for our
question.
work. For we can use existing, maybe we have a existing project in the department, we can go and pick it up, then continue where the person stops. Then if we want to report our work now, to what level can we plagiarize such work?
Okay, it is possible for you to continue from where somebody stopped. Yes,
Yeah.
and that happens very well. There are some projects with some supervisors that, okay, you hire a student to do it. Maybe the student is not able to complete it. Maybe the student was able to achieve 5% of the work. Then it is possible to hire another student to advance that research, to continue from where that student stopped, and then advance it to an acceptable level. And as the student is doing that, it's not possible for him to just it's not possible for him to neglect what has been done before, because he has to stand on the foundation of what somebody has started. Then he will have to continue.
Yeah,
So that is
thank you, sir.
that on that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Now it says,
So
sir, for chapter 4, during discussion of results, is it compulsory we cite a past work to back our claims? Yes or no?
chapter 4 happens to be is that not the result and discussion chapter?
Yes, sir.
The result and discussion chapter. You see, what I will advise is that there is what is called originality in academic research. So you should try as much as you can to concentrate on your own work, to describe the results and the output of your own work in that chapter 4.
Yeah,
But then it is possible, maybe you want to make comparison somewhere, or you want to do a kind of comparative study somewhere where you have to compare the result you obtain with another person's result. So it is possible for you to cite that person, because you don't just mention the name of the person without mentioning the level of research that person has done,
thank you.
especially when you have
Thank
to
uh,
compare your
uh,
result with the existing result in the literature.
yeah, thank you, sir. The last question, I want to take one last question so that we have to close for the day. It's almost 6 o'clock. I'm looking for a question I want to take. I'm
Okay.
looking for a question. Okay, they say must every research have an element of novelty? Yes or no? Is it compulsory for every research to have element of novelty? Yes or no, sir?
Yeah, every study or every research should have its own uniqueness.
Thank you, sir.
Sometimes for some of us that are published, so
Thank
that
you.
uniqueness is the novelty of the work.
Thank you, sir.
The
Thank you, sir.
uniqueness is the novelty of it. Even if it is tiny, we know that size of what you have done has really have gone ahead or taken a step further beyond the normal level that you meant it. So the uniqueness of your work is the novelty.
Thank you, sir. For other on the issue of plagiarism,
Yes,
it's
sir.
important to use Turnitin to run your plagiarism. Then you know your level of plagiarism. Then you can now recast your work. Then you can go back and run it for plagiarism test. Then at the end of the day, you'll be able to come up with a good thesis And when you are doing your correction, you should ensure that you cast the work. So that is that. Taking that question, and somebody is asking, yeah, it is possible for you to do research that is contrary to your area of specialization. First, one of the conditions is that you must be an expert. But if you are just coming up in research, we strongly encourage students to focus on the area of research. So that being said, I think we have to stop here. I thank everybody for coming online. We'll bring Dr. Akinyele next time to share more light on a specific aspect of research. Then this video, I'll upload it in YouTube. Then our website, you also see the link, the YouTube link on our website. So we encourage you to look at the flyer. Then you see our website. Then you can get the YouTube. Once again, I thank everybody for making time out to listening to Dr. Akinyele. And Dr. Akinyele, we also thank you for sharing your knowledge and your experience in academia with us. So basically, I
Yes, sir.
think if any of you need a specific services, you can contact us and they will advise you appropriately, and we will hope to go further. So our next presentation will look at more detailed and specific issue. So I thank everybody for coming on board online, and I would like to wish everybody a very productive weekend and fun. So the issue of coronavirus is real, so we should ensure to take a preventive measure. We should follow the laid down rules, and we should also try as much as possible to rest. But rest is very important. Thank you, everybody, and have a very nice weekend.